Now, let me hear some noise from my sisters in the house. Say something, sisters. My sisters in the house know a little something about waiting on the second man. Because you had perhaps, I say perhaps, some bad experience with that first fella. Forgive me if I mention any names that is your name, but old Silly Willie. Mr. Slewfoot. Mr. Wrong.
Okay.
Mr. Loser.
Yes, he was.
Didn't have a job. Didn't have no money. Didn't have no swag. I'm sorry. Nothing good about that fellow.
Nothing.
Your mama tried to tell you about him.
No, that's right.
But you just wouldn't listen. You thought that Jerry curl he was cool, and so he thought everybody else thought he was too. But it didn't work out. That first man, I don't have to know his name, but the Bible gave him his name right here in verse 47. It calls him Earthy. Everybody say Mr. Earthy.
Mr. Earthy. I know it.
The first man is of the earth.
Yes.
And his name is Earthy. We recognize today, too, on the spiritual realm that we all have had a bad experience with Mr. Earthy.
Amen.
I want to call your attention to a statement that says we ought not talk about one another.
That's right.
Because there's too much good in the worst of us.
Amen.
Too much bad in the best of us. That it does not behoove any of us to talk about the rest of us. Can I get a witness in that? That old man, that first man, we all, amen, inherit that first man just by being born. That first man, the Bible calls Adam. Because you and I have the genetic code of Adam. We inherited everything about Adam. We inherited his propensity to fail.
Yes, sir.
We inherited his old nature.
Yes, sir.
That old nature that will fail every time. That old nature that has no power in and of itself. It is the men that have Apostle Paul spoke of in Romans chapter 7. He began by saying, the good that I would do, I don't do. But that which I should not do, I find myself going ahead and doing that. Went on to say that to will is present with me. In other words, I'm willing to do what's right. How many are just willing to do what's right? You wouldn't be sitting here today if you weren't really willing to do what's right. You know deep down in your heart that you need to be here. You need some God in you. So you are willing to do what's right. But Apostle Paul went on to say that how to perform that which is good, I find not. In other words, he discovered something one day about Mr. Earthy, that he had no power in and of himself to do what was right. Now don't raise your hand on this one, but how many have discovered that every time you try to do what's right, you discover that evil is present on every hand. Every time you leave the church and say, I'm going to do better. I'm going to live right. I'm going to treat my neighbor right. I'm not going to cuss this week. I'm not going to gossip this week. I'm not going to, amen, look too hard. Amen. And you know about those looks. There's nothing wrong with the first look, but there's that second look. You didn't have to do that second take. You know, this, you can't help it when you do this. But if you do this,